And away we go on a Sunday night, seeing out the weekend. Of course, we do tend to get people in different parts of the world for whom it'll be early on Sunday and sometimes very early on Sunday if they tune in. But we shall see what the evening brings. And hello, Abigail. Yeah, you found it entertaining that I read the riot act. Well, it was a double thing of someone talking shit and showing no indication that they were willing to take on. There were incontrovertible facts supported by decades of evidence that rendered what they were saying bullshit. And then as a topper, talking over me and not stopping talking over me when I said, don't talk over me. That's a real good way to get the works from me. Yes, normally if someone talks shit, I'm not going to be shy about pointing out the fact they're talking shit, but inviting someone onto the stream and then them being rude as fuck and talking over me is just like, no, actually, I don't think I will let that go. I think I'll exert a little bit of control because I'm a little bit of a control freak. Fairly warned be ye. Yeah, so the angry part of the name has not been completely left in the past. It still comes out. Hi, Sealquent. Hello. Welcome back. And Braylon, what's up with you, man? Thank you for coming back and saying hello. And I hope actually, I don't think I asked you the Silicon, but I got very confused because a lot was happening. But I got the impression you were in the US, which would make it the early hours of the morning for you. Although I could really easily be wrong, as I so often am. I have just been chilling out today, watched some stuff on TV, played a little bit of Yakuza Like a Dragon, watched some stuff on YouTube. Trying to look something up now. Opening shot of Last Man on Earth. So, one of the things that I watched today, and this is actually because Disney Plus expanded what they have on offer, and so I was watching some new things. The new animation, one of the co-creators of Rick and Morty, and it sounds like all the voice actors from Rick and Morty are in it, Solar Opposites, which I found quite entertaining, and an older show. There's 4 seasons of it. It's called Last Man on Earth. And the first season's from about 2015. And the opening shot, and I didn't know this, I just started playing because I'd heard of it. And I thought, oh, it's here for free. I'll watch it. The opening shot is just the title comes up and says, the year 2020, 1 year after the virus. And I said out loud, really quite loud, people in the next room heard me because I just went, holy shit. I found that a bit siloquent. Yeah, I got a tad angry at someone who was on camera with me, someone who is regularly on camera with me. And partly because, in my opinion, they weren't listening to reason, mostly because they were fucking talking over me. And I'm like, no, I'm answering what you said. Don't talk me over me. Don't try and cut me off. And he kept talking over me. So I, as Abigail put it, read the riot act. Big Bad Ads, hello. Abigail, well, he has actually been on the stream multiple times. Not all the time, certainly not as regularly as you, but yeah. So that was my big shock for the day, seeing this show that opened with a shot saying, and it's, like a 5-year-old season, and it opened with a thing saying 2020, 1 year after the virus. And I was just like, oh, what the fuck? Whoa, no, that's unsettling. And it's a virus that wiped out everyone, hence Last Man on Earth. Yeah, I watched 3 episodes of that. It's entertaining. I'll probably watch some more of it. I did watch the new animation. I enjoyed the new animation, Solar Opposites. It's got an unmistakable vibe like Rick and Morty, and also because it's the same voice actors, though their voices sound a bit different. But plot-wise, it's completely different. And it's about some aliens who are on Earth who don't really want to be here. It's there's 3 episodes of it available so far. I thought there was a whole season, and I was watching it, and after the 3rd episode, there was no more. Oh, this is actually new. It's one of those ones where they're putting up 1 episode a week. So, I got the first 3 episodes of that binged, and I watched latest episode of WandaVision. Wasn't quite as earth-shaking as the previous episode, but it's still a very interesting show. Silicant, would I eat ass? There's a lot of variables in there, circumstance, whose ass, all those sorts of things. I'm going to go with a nominal yes, with a lot of qualifiers in there. Abigail, yes, he was talking over everyone. Yeah, and as you say, when he's talking about the only trans person on the stream, and it was just like, but it was doing my head in that the impression I was getting is that he was absolutely refusing to absorb the fact that there was a conclusive body of evidence that made his feelings obviously incorrect. And even the things he was citing, for those who missed it, was a guy saying he was saying this old trope that trans women have an unfair advantage in sport, and we have overwhelming evidence, basically irrefutable evidence. This isn't true because trans women have been competing for decades and they're not champions. And he cited, out of all the hundreds of thousands of women around the world competing at the highest levels, he cited 2 cases of trans women saying, oh, well, that proves it. One was an MMA fighter who had only had 6 bouts and had only won 5 of them. I think Ronda Rousey won. Actually, did Ronda Rousey? I always had the feeling she had about 20 fights without being fighted. Let me go. Ronda. Oh my god, I can't type. Ronda Rousey. She's in the WWE now. Undefeated streak, right. No, wait, where did that come from? Ronda Rousey had 12 wins and 2 losses. I thought she had more than that. I thought she had more bouts than that. But anyway, this guy is going like, oh, this trans MMA fighter has an unfair advantage. But it's like, but she's only won 5 out of 6 bouts. So a cis woman beat her. And then he cited a New Zealand weightlifter as saying, like, she had the world record. Look at her. And she didn't. She possibly still has the Oceania record, but she's not world champion. And multiple cis women have lifted higher, heavier weights than her. And it's like, you are disproving your own argument with your evidence. And it just didn't seem to be sinking. Sunday, hello. You found a 2011 YouTube vid with virologist Michael Gray predicting the toilet paper shortages. Apparently, like, everyone who lives through disasters on the regular, like floods, tornadoes, and whatnot, they'll tell you straight up, like, oh no, toilet paper and bottled water disappears instantly. That was even on one episode of, what's that show about? It's called Supernatural. The brothers who do the supernatural thing. Apparently, one episode they have some guy who's come back in time from a post-apocalypse thing, and he says, "When it all goes down, get toilet paper. That shit's like gold." Siloquent, I don't like beer. What is a seltzer beer? Help me out. How does a seltzer beer differ from other beers? Because yes, I don't go anywhere near beer. So often when people start throwing out these things about stouts, lagers, drafts, IPA, I'm like, cool, no fucking idea what you're talking about. Oh, okay. Now you're confusing me, Siloquent, because all beer is carbonated. That's a thing that beer has. It has bubbles. All beer is carbonated. I'm very confused. I suppose you could extra carbonate it. So, as you say, like carbonated water, that is not a thing I've heard of. But the basic taste of beer is so gross to me, I've had no interest in exploring it. Although, mind you, I did get talked into exploring cider, and I ended up liking cider. So I don't drink much cider now, though. Too much sugar. So although you can get low sugar cider, that some of them are okay. But yes, I like cider. Don't drink it often because it's just too much sugar. Some of my cocktails have a decent amount of sugar in them. So I'm probably talking crap there. Because some of my cocktails probably have as much sugar as a cider does. White Claw beer. I didn't think White Claw was a beer. I thought White Claw was a hard seltzer. There's not Claw here. Yeah, okay. We're using different terminology, Silicon. The White Claw is not a beer. It's an alcoholic carbonated water. And I also call them Alka Pops. White Claw and a couple of others tried to elevate the profile of that sort of thing. But yes, I've had lots of carbonated Alka Pops, but again, too much sugar. Yes, Abigail, don't drink ham cider. Don't drink ham cider, as we found out on New Year's Eve. The French cider that was left in the fridge for too long, not open, and I opened it after I think I'd probably kept it in the fridge for 5 years. It sounds stupid, but it tasted like ham. Raiders, hello. You recall people who didn't suffer from asthma buying Ventolin at the start of the pandemic? I don't remember that, although I wouldn't be at all surprised. I think there was a thing with some people were buying up inhalers when the smoke from the bushfires was happening because they thought it would help them, which was, of course, a terrible thing to do to asthmatics who need the inhalers to live. Look, it wouldn't surprise me if people bought them in the fucking start of the pandemic. I don't remember. It was so long ago. This time last year, when everything hit, I suppose we realized it was really serious in March. But well, we're in March. It's the fucking 28th of February. So yeah, this time last year feels like it was 50 years ago. I don't really remember. The year was just so fucking weird. I don't really remember. Oh, just by the by, Silicon, White Claw is very hard to get in Australia because they haven't officially distributed it here. One of the biggest chains of bottle shops here imported White Claw specifically because people wanted it. And I think the price of it was bordering on 4 times more expensive than the US. In fact, for a bit of fun, I could go and look it up now, see if Dan Murphy's has still got White Claw. White Claw. Yeah, okay. $22 for a pack of 4 White Claws, which is dumb as shit. Yes. Oh, nice. I think I got the reference there, Abigail. Oh, hi, March. Yeah. So, Silicon, you bought a 12-pack for $20 US, 4-pack for 22. It's ridiculous. Somebody, when you bought apple cider in San Fran, didn't understand why the shopkeeper wouldn't let me take it out of the bag. Only when you tasted it, you realized it was alcoholic. Oh no, different terminology around the world. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Yeah. Yeah, because we don't, in the US, sorry, in Australia and the UK, you don't call apple juice cider. Or if they want to call it cider, it would be very clearly called non-alcoholic cider. Whereas in the US, they use the term hard cider for alcoholic cider. And we don't bother because we assume cider is alcoholic. So different things around the world. People expect different things. And it's probably different in different parts of Australia and different parts of the UK as well, for that matter. But my very limited experience in the UK was that people assume cider is alcoholic. Hey, Chris, doing great. Did some burnouts in the new car. Nice. Ugh. I didn't even leave the house today. Even though it was a nice day, I was just, like I said, chill. I was okay. My productive things was doing laundry, 3 loads of laundry, out on the line, back inside. I'm fucking productive. And some stuff in the kitchen. Ooh, and I made a milk clarified cocktail, which I will try. Silicon, it is 8:20 Sunday evening here. Look at this. In terms of the urine samples, this person's fairly well hydrated. I think they're okay. They could maybe hydrate a bit more. But this one's fairly well hydrated. This is mostly brandy. In fact, there's a couple different sorts of brandy and vermouth. And I had a cheeky little taste of a bit of it, and it seems like it's nice. I have a proper taste of it later. Silicon 3:20 a.m. This is the thing. And Chris is also in the US. It's like I get the insomniacs from North America coming on the stream. And cool. And I'm happy to keep you company while you're up at 3:20 in the morning. Shields, you had 30 Celsius. We had mid-20s here. It was mid to high 20s. It was really quite warm. And Chris, you're 1:20 a.m. Okay. 3 fans going. I have to admit, man, it gets hot here. I break out the air conditioning. My summer electric bill's gonna be so fucking high, but I don't care because I want to be comfortable. You know, That's why I work a fucking job, so I can have things. So I can buy things like that and pay for my air conditioner. That's it, basically. Otherwise, I would be a bum. That's maybe not work as hard, but yeah. It's like, well, I gotta, get some enjoyment out of life. So yeah, like every second week on Saturday night, I like to go out with Mrs. Angry, splurge a little bit. The ideal one is like a movie, dinner, and cocktails, and sometimes it's not all of them. Chris, fuck fans, it's the AC for you. Shieldsy, you got a cyclone forming. Ooh, late season cyclone. That doesn't sound good. Oh, Abigail, it's absolutely the capitalist BS. I want to have things, so I will engage in the capitalist system and work. Siloquent, my day job, I'm a contract IT worker. I am what's known as a business analyst, which means I spend a lot of time talking to people and then a lot of time writing up what we talked about. I'm not a technical person. I'm very happy to have a conversation about what I do, Siloquent. I'm not a technical person as such. I'm more or less the translator. I sit between the technical people and the end users and talk to both of them. Oh yeah, someday we had a super mild summer because other parts of the country had some pretty brutally hot weather, and we by and large did not. And sometimes we get real fucking hot weather, particularly in February. Okay, Shieldsy, cyclone season runs right up to May. See, there you go. Because I don't live in places that have cyclones. It's like it always weirds me out. The people across multiple states of the US where they call it Cyclone Alley and or Tornado Alley, and every year there's that period where fuck me. Deadly twisters come through, and that does my head in that you would live somewhere where that happens, but it is. And Chris is going online shopping. Nice. Abigail, you technical people love my work. Users are the worst. There's got to be someone between the users and the technical people who can speak to both of them, because the users are often extremely bad at communicating what they want in a meaningful way. Raiders, did we crack 40 in Melbourne this summer? I think we did. I wouldn't swear to it, but I feel like there were a couple of days that cracked 40. We had a bunch in the mid-30s, but we normally have at least once, if not twice over summer, one of those brutal fucking weeks where it's 40 to 45 every day and doesn't get below like 35 overnight. Those weeks suck. And we didn't have one this summer. Sometimes we get two of those, and it was so mild this summer. Chris, you get coastal storms. Yeah. We'll get storms, and the lower lying areas might get flooded in storms, and we might get wind damage in severe storms. But yeah, nothing like the tropics with their tropical cyclones. And Sydney gets worse storms than Melbourne, probably because they're closer to the tropics. And I kind of feel like some of those weather patterns come in on Sydney, come in from the ocean, and the mountains sort of makes these storms just fucking stop on Sydney and belt the shit out of Sydney, whereas Melbourne's all comparatively flat, so the weather patterns can move through more quickly. That is possibly absolutely spurious, what I just said. Yes, Chris, you've got to be careful in the mountains. Weather will kill you in minutes. Yeah, even in the high country in Victoria and New South Wales, in the middle of winter, where it snows and it goes way down. Shieldsy, you got the back end of a cyclone 3 years ago. Knocked power out for 3 days. And someone was knocked out for 5 days. God damn. Yeah, Chris. Yeah, and you've got serious mountains now, you. I mean, Australia's mountain range, the Great Dividing Range, is a really old mountain range. So the mountains aren't particularly high, and they've kind of got soft edges. Like if you compare them to New Zealand's mountains, like New Zealand's very seismically active compared to Australia, and their mountain ranges are younger by millions of years compared to Australia. So they have big mountains and they're big, sharp, jagged, dramatic peaks, whereas we have soft, rounded peaks by comparison, because yeah, literally our mountains are millions of years older. Yeah, the difference between New Zealand and Australia is quite astonishing. Um, but yeah, I want to go back to New Zealand someday. That was fun. Mrs. Angry and I went for a walk on a glacier. It was excellent. I think those glaciers have been melting now. Back when we were there, which was like 10 years ago, they were the only glaciers in the world that were growing. And the theory is New Zealand was stealing all Australians' water. It was evaporating off Australia and going out over the ocean, forming clouds, and then dropping snow on the peaks in New Zealand, which then compacts down the ravines and forms the glaciers, which why the glaciers were growing. Chris, there was a cool viewpoint in the mountain range. Look really big but shorter. They scare you as people don't take them seriously. Oh, that's one, Shields. You got stuck on your island for 2 days because a barge smashed into your ferries. I had to pull them out of the water to inspect the hulls. Yeah, that's when you're a bloody an island without a bridge. Shit can go a bit wild. Yeah, I mean, I've actually been to those islands where you live because I have a sister and a brother actually who live in Brisbane or thereabouts, and I visited the sister, God, when I was still in school, so a very fucking long time ago, so long ago, and did Stradbroke Island and Bribie Island, and it's around that whole area. Chris, after you vaccinated, you and the lady are getting passports to travel when that's allowed. I honestly do not think it's wise for there to be a lot of international travel before 2022. I think there's going to be a lot of people pushing for it in the second half of 2021, and I think it's a mistake. But huge number of unknowns in this wild and crazy world of ours. Who knows what is going to happen? That's a confusing. Okay, I'm being pedantic, Raiders. The sentence confuses me. New South Wales received 50% of Victoria's rain in 2019. Makes me think like New South Wales stole 50% of Victoria's rain. But I assume what you mean is New South Wales had, or Victoria had double the amount of rain that New South Wales did in 2019. Oh yeah, Chris, being prepared is very good, definitely. Shields, the IGA lost all this fresh food. It's a week before it's fully restocked as Wild Week. Yeah, and and again on an island. It kind of makes sense that people were a bit worried about having produce. Living in your island paradise, but you got to worry about things that not everyone has to worry about. Still in all, it's an island paradise, is it? I'm saying all these good things about your island, Shieldsy. Is it a good island? Like I said, I did visit there. I did visit that area. So my memory of it is a pretty good island. And with good beaches, good places for swimming and whatnot. Chris, you miss IGA when I refuse. I'm sure it was a completely different IGA. That's a group of grocery stores, Independent Grocers of Australia. So I guess yours would have been Independent Grocers of America. Shields, you reckon it's 50-50? I'm sure. I don't know that Shieldsy has an island, Abigail. He lives on an island off the coast of Brisbane. Yes, I'm channeling the old. What was this show? Like TV was so shit when I was a kid, and in the country in particular, we would get these same really quite old shows repeated endlessly. And one of them was this one called The Wackiest Ship in the Navy. And yeah, it was weird because it was a US patrol ship operating out of Brisbane in World War II was the premise. And yet they constantly referred to it as Brisbane. Like it was all shot in LA. None of it was shot in Australia, I don't think. They were just always referring to Brisbane. That would have been slapped out of them in 5 seconds by Australian soldiers and sailors. Oh, okay. You're a 17-minute ferry ride from the mainland, Shieldsy. Okay. And Chris, you shop on islands across from you. Oh, cool. Yes, that is cool. Raiders, you want to go bushwalking southeast of Tassie? I've done that too. It's fucking awesome. Tasmania is great for a visit as well. Abigail, was it actually called the wackiest ship in the Army? What if it had been the wackiest ship in the Navy? My memory is clearly failing me. Because it wasn't repeated anywhere near as much as stuff like F Troop. The ABC repeated the F Troop non-stop, and the commercial channel had like Get Smart and the Brady Bunch and the Partridge Family and the wackiest ship in the Army. Sometimes wasn't repeated as often as the other ones. Chris, you're going to go mountain hiking this summer? Nice. God, I just had this weird memory of the Batman TV series with Adam West. When I saw it when I was a kid, because I thought Batman was serious, right? Batman is a hero. Batman is serious. I thought the Batman TV series was shit the first time I saw it because it's just stupid. It's stupid. What's Batman being stupid? It's like, so I'm probably 8 years old thinking I know everything. And I was looking in the TV guide once and it referred to the show as a comedy. And I thought that was a mistake, but I laughed and went, oh, yeah, that'd be right. It's a joke. It's stupid. It's like, I just didn't get it. There's probably nothing. Well, okay, there's a bunch of things more annoying, but it is very annoying a kid or a teenager or an adult for that matter, who is acting like they're super smart and above something, and they are actually completely failing to understand the thing that they're disparaging. And that was me with Batman. I thought it was supposed to be serious and it was just shit. I didn't know it was meant to be a comedy because I thought Batman was serious. I used to read some Batman comics and they were serious. So I was like, yeah. Sunbear, Aussie born and bred, probably don't pronounce you gotta say Melbourne. We lose most of the second half of the word. But I do remember the American comedian who was at one point spending like half of his year in Australia each year. Trying to remember his name now. He was in Flight of the Conchords. Flight of the Conchords TV show. Arj Barker. Sorry. I was just going through, I didn't find his name. I was just churning through memories in my head and remembered it was Arj Barker. Arj Barker was spending about half his year in Australia. And he was on stage and he's saying something about liking being back in Melbourne, and he went, yes, people are impressed. I say it properly. It's no big deal. This is not my first time in Victoria. Hey, Locust Trooper, how's it going? Ashoka. Well, logic would suggest you would say Melbourne or Melbourne, but if you say anything apart from Melbourne, people are going to think you're an idiot. Yep, Chris, spot on. Melbourne, right next to Perth. It's just a little place. So, yeah. There's another joke I remember a comedian doing is in Sydney, like, there's some tourists coming up and bothering me, asking me questions. And this was in Sydney. I was living in Sydney. They're asking me questions and like, how do I get? And they've just been really annoying, asking me all these questions. And they went, and how would we get to Perth from here? And I wanted to be helpful, so I put them in a taxi. Take him to Perth. Is that you, like, Tribby? You're the weird guy at my service. We're all weird down here. The atypical bunch. Yes, Mexico. That's because I grew up in New South Wales, south of the border. People would always refer to it as Mexico. Yeah, I just mentioned that Big Bad as an American TV show would continually refer to Brisbane. There's no, it's too hot to say the whole word, so we lose most of the second half of the word. We don't go Brisbane, this is Brisbane. We don't go Melbourne, it's Melbourne. Oh gosh, Sunday, your mother went to grammar school and was taught by English teachers. Yeah, well, because it was named after Lord Melbourne. The Lord it was named after would not have called himself Melbourne. He wouldn't have called himself Lord Melbourne. It would have been Lord Melbourne. So I feel like get him in a time machine and bring him up and just have everyone, have people around him just going, Melbourne, Melbourne. And what the fuck? What the fuck? I think that would traumatize him more than everything else, like the technology and whatnot. Because to be honest, I can't say the names of the cities and places in the Northwest. Indiana English is not that good. There is some very funny pronunciations in the US, very localized. And I think it's all about like a dominant ethnicity when the place was named. Like, why is it Kansas and Arkansas, not Kansas and Arkansas? Or Arkansas and Kansas? I mean, because they spell the fucking same. So yeah, why Kansas and Arkansas and not Kansas and Arkansas? I remember that was one I knew at school, and not many people did. And we had an American exchange student, and I don't know if everyone else, if they still do this, but we used to have to read stuff. You like pass it around the class and read a couple pages, and there's a thing in there, and it was edited, and it had Arkansas. It mentioned Arkansas, so I went blah 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 blah, Arkansas, because I knew that's how you pronounced it. And it's like no one else in the class knew, and they all looked at me like I'm a moron and say, like, it says Arkansas. And we had the American exchange student in the world. I'm going, Tom, help me out here. And he went, no, it's Arkansas. I know what it looks like, and I know it doesn't make sense, but it's Arkansas. So, yeah. Why is it Scappoose and Clackamas? Hometown was Valparaiso. Valparaiso? Because there is a lot of ways you could pronounce that. You got a slight Southern, slight Chicago accent mixed up. Wow. Well, see, that's the thing. Okay, Weinstein and Einstein. So some people say Weinstein and some people say Weinstein. Oh my God, Weinstein just sounds wrong. I can only say it as Weinstein. Ooh, Raiders, the Cape Pillar track. I assume that's in Tasmania. See if we can find some good pictures of it. Cape Pillar hike. Images. Holy shit, there's some scenery there. Oh, I was around that area. Look, I'll share a screen. This is really, really spectacular coastline around Tasmania. Eric on Facebook. Yes, no, it doesn't make any sense. It's just I knew and no one else did. Unfortunately, I had an American to back me up. So, sharing my screen. Just say the steps I'm doing. So, this is an area you can hike around. Look at how beautiful that looks. And these rock formations are really interesting. I had a boat ride around that bit, like here. Those, I think that's volcanic rock formations. Did a boat cruise around that area, and they're really tall. It's really quite spectacular. So, yeah, Tasmania, well worth visiting. Did a little driving holiday with Mrs. Angry. It was really good. Rated, you probably did the wine class. Speaking of things I can't pronounce, Freycinet. Oh, okay. So, Chris, I would definitely say Couch Street. Are you going to tell me it's Cooch Street? Because that wouldn't really surprise me that much. But Locust Tripper, you just asked me if someone's death was suicide or did they kill themselves. Those are the same thing. I think you meant, did someone else? No, I think it was probably all too much for them. I think it probably was deliberate. Eric, you were born in Mexico, raised in the US, lived in Germany. Pronunciation is shit everywhere. That is awesome. I love that combination. Born in Mexico, raised US, lived in Germany, so your pronunciation's just gone to shit. And you have an Italian fiance who always rolls her eyes at you when you pronounce shit. Sorry, you're sounding like a sitcom now. You'd be like a comedy duo with your fiance. That sounds really funny, actually. Raiders. Okay, so that thing is Freycinet. Okay, cool. Shieldsy, you're a fan of Cairns. Train trip up and back. That would be an interesting train trip too. We got into talking about train trips the other night too. Yeah, Sunday best Tassie trip was on a boat around Bruny Island. I think I might have done that one. Amazing scenery, albatross everywhere. Yeah, oh my god, we were on a boat cruise, and because from a distance, an albatross looks very similar to a seagull, and we're on this cruise, and this bird like thought it was a seagull a certain distance away, and it was flying towards the boat, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's like I thought it was a seagull 100 meters away, and it was this massive fucking albatross that was about 300 meters away, and because my brain was going, that's a seagull, and the seagull just kept getting bigger and bigger, and my brain's going, what the fuck is going on, what the fuck. I was like, another weird one, not knowing scale, in New Zealand, there's an area called Milford Sound. It's this amazing little channel that comes in from the ocean, and it's like rock walls, and there are a couple. It sounds like I'm talking shit, but these sheer rock walls are a couple of kilometers high, and you're in this really comparatively narrow pass with these unfathomably huge rock walls either side of you. And my brain just kind of refused to process how big they were. And I was just going, yeah, it's a rock wall. It's a big rock wall. It's a big rock wall. And I was looking up at one point, and there was this tiny thing, and I was just going, it's a big rock wall. It's like, it's not as tall as this, and it's like so much taller than a skyscraper. Like, it's not even as tall as a skyscraper. It's just a big rock wall. And there's near the top, there was this tiny thing moving across the face of the rock wall, and it was a fucking plane. I mean, like, it was a Cessna. It wasn't a huge plane, but and it was another thing. My brain just suddenly went, the fuck? What the fuck? Oh my god, how big are those rock walls? This is not normal. Yes, like a stripper. I know Melissa Caddick. She was a con woman, stole a bunch of people's money, disappeared, and her foot washed up on a beach the other day. Ooh, Shields, are you doing Spirit of Queensland Railbed class? That is classy. That is very classy. Go on, let's share pictures. Spirit of Queensland train rail bed. Let's look at the images of that. Shit. Okay, now I've got to share these. Look at this. Where are we? Share. Go to get the right Chrome tab. Look at this. That's like something out of Star Trek. Whoa. Look at that one turns into a sleeper. It's like a chair, bed. Got to remember there are people around you, so you can't, whack off while you're in there. You don't have privacy. Just saying. Man, that looks awesome, actually. Megaleech, hello. We're just talking about how beautiful Tasmania is, actually. Locust Trooper, no, I don't think anyone murdered her. I think it's one of those things where she couldn't face getting caught, and I think she took her own life. Because killing her doesn't achieve anything. You don't get anything back from someone you kill. Sorry. Oh my God. Sorry. On Twitch, 99 Thought. Shout at me, Daddy. I do know some people are into that. And because I've stopped coloring my hair, so now I've got the whole silver fox thing going on. Yep. I can see that being someone's fetish. Oh, Ashoka, that's a fun little bit of trivia. A very hungry albatross will eat a seagull. Well, they're way fucking bigger. Oh, no, Megaly, she didn't cut her own foot off. She went overboard. I think she probably threw herself off a boat. And marine life chomped on her and bits washed up. I mean, maybe someone killed her. Doesn't seem like a very productive thing to do. But I think it's more likely she went over the side of a boat. And there's somewhere in the US where feet still in shoes keep washing up on the beach, and it's got something to do with the currents. Like, it's not a bunch of people who all died same place, same time, but it's something to do with the ocean currents, people who are lost at sea, and eventually a human body just falls to pieces or, gets nibbled on by marine life and breaks up. And there's this stretch in the US where feet still in a shoe keep washing up on beaches. It's really weird. It's really weird. Something to do with the ocean currents. Raiders, tweet with link to Insta photo of the exact wall we refer to. Of the Milford Sound wall? Yeah, but see, a photo won't do it justice. Like, the Milford Sound channel is so narrow and the rock wall is so high. For years, sailors going past didn't even see it because all their eyes were seeing was this massive wall of rock, and the channel looks about this wide in comparison. And apparently for years, sailors were going straight past and not realizing there was a channel going in there with a really good docking spot in there. But, the Tassie wall. All right. In that case, I'm going to open my Twitter. Notifications. There it is. Insta. Oh, yeah. Check this. I'll share this. Share the Instagram. Look at that. Just the erosion over the years. Now, I assume that's sedimentary, the way it's built up like that over the eons. But yeah, doing boat cruises around there is really good. Really good. So Yeah. Locust Trooper, I don't go to McDonald's or Hungry Jack's, but if I was going to, or was going to be forced to, it would be Hungry Jack's. I have a real soft spot for their bacon double cheeseburger, big greasy thing that it is. Big Bad Ads. She lived near the cliffs in eastern Sydney. Last I heard, they're investigating the possibility she jumped. Yeah, I think she did. I think it was too much. And as you say, Locust Trooper, guilt's a bitch. And some people can't deal with like situations of their own making. Yeah. All right. That's the first hour. I'm going to try my urine sample, aka a milk clarified cocktail. Gotta get a glass and some ice. Oh, my old legs. All right, so get my glass, get some ice. Now, I could have chilled that in the fridge so it didn't need ice, and I could have put it in one of my really elegant glasses. But what I've found a couple of times, not all the time, it's not universal, but the lower temperature in the fridge, I think it makes, like, there's some oils suspended in that, because there's whey from the milk. I think there's oils that are in solution, and dropping the temperature makes it come out of solution. And instead of being this beautiful clear, can you see my face? Instead of being this beautiful clear drink, it actually gets cloudy. Doesn't affect the taste, but it gets cloudy. Oh no, Abigail, now making crave burgers. What did I have for dinner? Oh, I had these pork belly rashers that are marinated that were pretty yum. Yeah, Raiders, jumping off a cliff in Sydney or off the side of a boat in Sydney, sharks will find you. Oop, the ice kraken. Cracking, not kraken. I do not have a kraken made of ice. Look how nice that looks in a glass. If I really wanted to show off, I would have put some of my sexy clear ice in there, but that's just a normal ice cube with all the bubbles in it. Sunday, you like Hungry Jack's veggie burger? I have not tried. Like some of those chains, they have both veggie burgers and they will occasionally have that lab-grown meat. And I haven't tried either of them. I have to admit, I'm a fucking hipster. I've got all these boutique burger places surrounding me. Like within like a suburb, either way, there's probably at least 6 high-end burger places that are all pretty good, that all have their own specialty. And that's where I get my burgers, and you fucking pay for it. They're a lot more expensive than McDonald's, I tell you that. And they all have their own version of veggie burgers as well. Some of them make the patty out of chickpeas, and some will make it out of other things. There's some very varied approaches to the whole veggie burger thing. So, but they all have something. They all do something in a veggie burger. So, cheers. Yeah, this kind of tastes like wine. Well, it's got vermouth in it. This is a milk clarified cocktail, and the cocktail was called Velvet Threesome because it has 3 different sorts of brandy in it, and also some vermouth. So that's mostly brandy and vermouth, and I think I can taste the vermouth more than anything. It isn't as sweet as I thought it would be. Some Beyond Burgers freak you out because they taste and feel too real. That's the lab-grown meat, isn't it? Like, it's not vegetarian, it's lab-grown meat. I forgot what they called it, but that sounds familiar. Ads, do we get bull sharks in the Yarra River? I would say it's not impossible, because we occasionally get dolphins coming up the Yarra River. Very rarely, but occasionally. So if a dolphin's going to, and I think we've actually had small whales wander up the Yarra once or twice. So if a dolphin's going to come up the Yarra, we'd be bound to at least occasionally have a shark wander up. I don't remember reported sightings happening, but it seems what it is. Yeah, that's one of the brand names, Abigail, the Impossible Burger. That was a lab-grown meat burger. And I think there's more than one, though. And there's some that are the 100% vegetable, but made to look and taste like meat. Veggie burgers. None of the ones I know of are attempting to make the patty look or taste like meat. It's an alternative, and there'll be some sort of vegetable base. So now I feel like looking up, what do they all do? Okay, so Sunday Beyond Burgers is all veg. Milk Momentits, hello. You like my glasses? I've had these for about 2 years. I'm overdue to get a new pair, actually. But, COVID and everything, I haven't been in the city going to an optometrist. But I might do that again soon because my health insurance will cover it. So I might get a new pair of glasses, see what's fashionable in glasses land. Now I want to go. Okay, there's one called the. Okay, I'm gonna look up the menus of a couple places and see what veggie option they have. This one has a patty made of beetroot, lentil, and brown rice. That's an interesting one. Now I'm just bored and looking up veggie patties in these hipster burger places that I go to. I don't want to be on your mailing list. I just want to look at, okay, burgers. Vegan. Oh, this place actually has a vegan one that's meant to fool you into thinking it's chicken. But then they have their veggie burger. The patty is made from black quinoa, roast pumpkin, and chickpea. So that's their veggie patty. I'm just gonna look up. No, I've just got obsessed with looking up how these various places make their veggie burgers. Where are we? Okay, burgers. Beef, chicken. Oh yeah, okay. This mob, their veggie burger is sweet potato, kale, and quinoa. So there you go. They all have their own way of doing a veggie patty. Don't know why I found that interesting, but I just wanted to look up all those things. Adds the rivers in southeast Queensland are infested with them. Been numerous sightings of crocs in recent years, probably climate change. Those like housing developments they did with canals, I've heard they have a real thing with the sharks coming up the canals. Safa, any shouting tonight? Maybe. I can do Angry Bunch. Who wants to come on? I don't think there's anyone here I want to shout at. I don't know if anyone wants to come on and chat, but if you do, Young Momentich, you're drinking Wild Boar, 4.4 standard drinks. It's a rum mixer in a can. Nice. I did a big rum tasting last night because I've got 10 or more rums there, and I just tasted 6 of them side by side, and that was a fun little adventure. I realized in tasting them, I seem to have trained my rum palate because I didn't used to really like drinking them straight at all, but I quite enjoyed having a little sample of each of them. No, moment, it's problem with veggie burgers. You have to check out sodium levels. That is a good point. That is quite possible they might put too much salt in the veggie patties. Sunbear, you think I'll shout at you before the end of the night? No, the golden rule is don't talk over me. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's the canals on the Gold Coast. Freaking sharks coming up them all the way. Safi, yes, a few uneasy topics. Dr. Abigail, who I'm not going to shout at because she's my tech expert. And also, I'm slightly scared.
I'm also never wrong.
And see, so there's no reason to shout at you because
exactly,
you're never wrong.
Yes.
So, whereas the person I shouted
chagrin
at,
of my son.
Yeah, the person I shouted at was A, extremely wrong.
Extremely wrong.
B, seemed to be refusing to take in the incontrovertible evidence that was showing they were wrong. C, motherfucker wouldn't stop talking over me. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Even as I cut loose, I'm just going, the amount I have had to drink is contributing to my willingness to just fucking fly off the handle.
It was quite entertaining, but I had kind of checked out of the conversation by then because I just didn't have the spoons to process the sheer fuckery that he was delivering. And I'm glad Grasshopper was there because he was well and truly up to the task.
Oh, and he super loves arguing as well, which is
yes, he does.
My own heart. So I don't know if he's ever going to appear again.
Well, that wasn't the only time people yelled at him last night. They're like,
no,
there was a couple of times people were like arguing the point with him, and he just didn't seem to listen until it got really shouty. And I forget what the first, because I'd been drinking all night, so I was checking out. But yeah, there was the first argument, and then there was the whole transgender thing.
Yeah,
and I forget what the first argument was about.
Oh, the first one, it was just some general homophobic stuff. He wasn't being homophobic, but he was couching. I could see like his talking points. His talking points were coming from homophobes.
Yes,
he was saying he wanted to. Yeah, but it's so obvious he's been fed talking points, and I was like, and but the thing that really pushed me over the edge was talking over me, and I was just like, maybe not.
Don't do it.
Maybe I won't put up with that.
Don't. And you shouldn't have to.
And hey, speaking of Star Trek, I randomly saw the Captain Pike Adventures is supposedly coming out later this year.
Yes. What's it called?
Strange New
Worlds.
Strange New Worlds. Because it's the maiden voyages of the Enterprise. Yeah.
Yes, before Kirk. So
before Kirk. Yeah.
Yes, there was technically a Captain April, I think, before Pike.
Okay.
Very briefly, and Pike was the first like long-term captain of the Enterprise, and then Kirk. After Pike suffered terrible misfortune at the hands of I forget the name of the planet now.
Yeah.
The only death penalty on record in the Federation is visiting this planet.
Yeah.
Because
and I
love the original series. Yeah.
In Disco, when Pike was in it, they kept hinting, this might be the episode where Pike has the thing happen to him, and it never did. But it was pretty cool that they kept kind of teasing, like, ooh, Pike might end up in the wheelchair.
When he was harvesting those time crystals, they showed it. Like they showed a flash forward of him.
Yeah,
which
and
was
so
pretty
from then
cool.
from then on, you kept thinking, "Oh, is it going to happen to him?" Sunbear, you're being very generous. I also gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I directly said to him, "I don't think you're deliberately antagonistic. You're trying to be open-minded." But where it turned into a problem was well, like he kept talking shit and he seemed absolutely unwilling to take on that it wasn't a difference of opinion. His opinion was wrong and it could be proven wrong by massive amounts of evidence. And even his evidence, and this is what blew my mind, I said this a bit earlier, out of the hundreds of thousands of women competing at elite levels around the world, he thought he was proving his point by pulling out one MMA fighter who was trans, and she'd been beaten. She'd been beaten by a cis woman. So you actually disproved your point. You didn't prove your point. And then he brought up a New Zealand weightlifter that he thought was the world champion. I went, no, I looked it up because I'd never heard of her. So I looked it up. She may still have the Oceania record, but she is not world champion and never has been. And multiple cis women have posted higher weights than her in competition. So both times you thought you were proving your point, you were actually disproving your point. And he seemed absolutely unwilling to take that on. And plus, the motherfucker would not stop talking over me.
Everyone. He wouldn't stop talking over everyone.
I don't actually care about everyone else.
Well, that's the important part. That is the important part. He was talking over you, the owner of the stream, and that's just a big no-no. The rest of us peons, we can try and fight for ourselves, but you talk over the stream owner and you're done. Yeah. Especially if it's you and you read the riot act.
Yeah. And I kept saying, stop talking over me. Stop talking over me. And he wouldn't. Yeah. And that's when I was screaming at him, shut the fuck up. I am going to switch your microphone off if you don't shut the fuck up. And he wouldn't. No. But anyway. Yeah. So that was fun. That was an adventure, certainly. Oh, apparently there's also a kids animated Star Trek coming out later this year.
Yes, it's going to be there is, and then it's not going to be members of Starfleet, and there's no humans in the main cast.
Ooh, nice, because it's way easier to do in animation.
Yes, absolutely. Which is why I like Lower Decks.
Lower Decks is
they could do stuff in Lower Decks that they just wouldn't have the budget for in a live action show. And it was just really funny and I loved it.
And they talked like, adult cartoon characters. They didn't talk like Star Trek people are always, even like Disco and Picard were a bit less formal and a bit more natural, but it's still a bit serious, and Lower Decks was just cartoony dialogue, which I loved.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Staying true to Star Trek while doing this really wacky cartoon was an amazing balancing act.
Yeah, and all the callbacks, all the fan bait. Especially like the Spock helmet. There was you remember the old Spock helmet with the light on it and Spock written on it? That was in Lower Decks. It was blink and you miss it, but if they can put that much detail into it, it was just so good.
Chris, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. I have to admit, one of the bits in Lower Decks that really made me laugh was when they were taking the piss out of the first Star Trek movie with the overlong tracking shots and it just kept going. Yeah. First with the overly long tracking shots of their ship, and then when they went on, they had all the J.J. Abrams lens flares going off everywhere.
The lens, I
love a good lens.
Yeah, it was great. Yes, Safa, you can watch Lower Decks on
Prime.
What's it called? Amazon Prime.
Finally, it's legal in Australia on Amazon Prime. There's a couple good things on Amazon Prime. In fact, I think Amazon Prime would be really good if you were a stoner, because you only have to watch one sensible thing, and the related stuff, you start flicking through the related stuff, particularly if you do sci-fi, and you get weird shit from the 30s to the 50s that they've apparently bought the license for. And I reckon if you were stoned out of your mind, you could spend hours watching that stuff.
Yeah. It's funny, actually.
Sorry, I'm a bit distracted. I'm ordering food online
Oh, good.
good because I haven't eaten yet. I haven't eaten. I had a late night and I woke up late and I haven't eaten. And
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. That's funny about Amazon
Burgers,
Prime,
yeah.
actually, is I'm going to have to use either my mom's or my girlfriend's Amazon Prime because I finally got my friend to tell me the name of the movie that he worked on when he was in college as a PA, a feature film. And it was a bunch of Nickelodeon rejects. They went and made a movie in Seattle in 2009. And so he finally told me the name of the movie, and I'm not going to say it here until I watch it. I want to make sure it's good. I don't want to recommend people a shitty movie.
sure.
Because he says that he genuinely told me that, like, it's not that great, but give it a watch. I don't know if you'll like it because he didn't like the movie when it
What
was
genre
done.
is it?
It's a comedy. It's like a teenage comedy film. Kind of with a bit of a Nickelodeon twist because they all left Nickelodeon in the early aughts to go to this film. So I'm gonna watch it. I told him I'm gonna watch the movie. I'm gonna take a picture of his name in the credits.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
I have a friend who works for ILM as a digital effects artist, and he has credits in the Star Wars prequels and in the Hobbit movies.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
I have credits in
And
some
I've seen
indie films, but they've
I've-
all been. They never went to distribution. So.
Okay, I've seen some
Sadly enough,
some
I
of
wish
his
I did.
work, and he's just really good. Like you wouldn't tell, but because he's not a techie nerd, he's just really good at what he does. And yeah, it's anyway.
Yeah. Most of my credits that people have seen are just on TV broadcasts, and it flies by in like 2 seconds. You're never going to see it, but they've been on some big networks, and there you go. You go frame by frame.
Yeah.
You might see my name.
Well, his name appears in like huge lists somewhere three-quarters into credits, and
like this
yeah,
much, and it's like he's like right there. Yeah, that's probably how my friend's name is because he's in a big giant. He'll be in a big list of PAs, so I'll have to pause and scan through. We'll see how good the quality is on Amazon. It may not be HD, the version on Amazon.
yeah.
Most of the stuff they have is, but
That's good.
Because I watch sci-fi like Musical Aviator, and of course The Expanse is on Prime, which is fucking great. But it was actually watching The Expanse and then related stuff. It started to get weird really quick. You go down the list and it's like, oh my god, I remember that Star Wars knockoff from the 80s or the early 70s. Battle Beyond the Stars and whatnot.
Yep.
And but then it's like, ooh, that one's from the 60s. Shit, that's from the 50s. Oh my god, that's a Saturday morning Buster Crab serial from the 30s that they've spliced all the episodes together and called it a movie. And
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I love old stuff like that. There's a really good B movie from sci-fi B movie from the 50s called Ants. And it's these giant ants, these toxic ants, they were irradiated. They slowly moved towards Los Angeles. And the whole film is shot like really seriously. And they had a bunch of military advisors come on and actually how would we respond to this disaster? So it's as it gets into the city of Los Angeles, you watch all the troops get ready to go and they have to save the kid. And it's a really interesting film. It's so cool. So it's called Ants, just giant ant movie from the 50s. It's really neat. I love the way it's shot. It's like it's shot like a 70s disaster film where you're like following like a cop or something. It's like shot like that, but it's from the 50s, so it's way different. Yeah.
There was actually a giant ants film in the 70s. Joan Collins was in it. I saw it. We used to have this really rinky-dink cinema in Dubbo where I grew up, where you'd see weird. There'd be a recent release movie, but they do a double feature, and the second one on the double feature was always weird as fuck.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Because, they didn't pay anything for the second one, and this one, because it's preying on. There's a thing some ants do. They use pheromones to enslave other insects.
Yes, they do.
Mind blowing.
It's terrifying.
And this one, these giant ants do that to humans. It's a thing like they spray humans.
Oh, yeah, that's
And-
creepy.
Ooh.
Joan Collins is in it, and it's beautiful. Like,
Oh, I'll have to look this up.
Someone had a lot of fun making big rubber ant costumes.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, the one
There's
from the
a
50s is
cinema
really well
near-
done.
There's a
one sounds
cinema
like a
near
neat
me.
movie.
It's an art house cinema.
Mm.
And occasionally they have free mystery movies or like $5 mystery movies, and they're
Yeah.
always shit. I've never stayed for a full one. Yeah, they're always just so shit. They just want to get their money's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a drive-in movie theater in my hometown, and they always did double features. And
Yep.
they had a really good restaurant in the concession stand. Like they would they would have the popcorn vendor from Chicago come all the way down into Valpo, and they would sell out all their popcorn. They were like kettle corn, candy corn, and then they had like roast beef sandwiches and double grilled cheese sandwiches, all this great food. And so you'd see the big movie first, then you'd go get your food in the intermission. Then you'd come back and you'd watch some fucking movie from like 15 years ago that they bought from a local theater for no money, and it was always worse quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was great time. Great time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't even need a car. They had benches you could just sit in. It was really cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you didn't even have to have a car. It was great. I loved it. I miss that drive-in theater. There aren't any
Yeah.
out here.
Cool. The first movie I ever remember seeing was at a drive-in movie. It was
Ooh.
1980. I was just old enough to remember, and it was Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Oh, how about that?
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, I was
Speaking
4.
of Star Trek.
The first movie I currently remember seeing, I think it was Toy Story, because I was 6. The
I've
other
never
movies
seen Toy Story.
I remember going to theaters before that, but I don't remember the movies. I don't remember any of them until Toy Story. That was the first one I
Right.
really remembered. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I don't. I can't even. I can't place and say what was the first movie I remember.
I was like 6. So like, in our family didn't go to the movies much. So I'm sure I went to the movie a few times when I was younger, but probably nothing. I can't remember anything before that.
Yeah.
I just don't remember the movie. I remember going. Don't remember the movie.
We had a drive-in.
Yeah.
Yeah, had to have a car because it was actually out past the perimeter of town. So
Oh,
it wasn't walking distance. You had to drive just because it was actually outside town.
mhm.
And
Yeah, the movie, the drive-in theater that we had was also just out of town, but it was in between 2 towns, and there was a big drop-off parking lot area, so people would drop their teenagers off, and then they'd pick them up a few hours later. It was a whole cool community thing. You'd have like the middle schoolers would bring a whole van out, and they'd say, "Get out of the van, go by the benches, don't sit in the van." So, good times, good parties, good fun.
that sounds good.
Oh
Again,
yeah, it was great.
Cool.
Our drive-in, the double feature, the B movie.
Oh, it's terrible.
But half the time they'd be borderline porn. Like people are going like, "Oh yes, I'm going to go see this movie,"
Yeah.
and the B movie would be tits and ass and violence everywhere, and you go like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, actually, what's funny
Yep.
is I remember I saw Rocky and Bullwinkle, the motion picture, at this drive-in theater, and the B movie was the recently released Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider that was just fucking terrible.
Oh,
And everybody left through that movie because apparently they got that copy for free. And oh my God, it was so boring. But I tell you what, man, I was eating my sandwich. I was having a big Coke. I didn't know what the hell was going on in the movie. It was fun though. I tell you what, man, it's loud, real loud film. That's all I remember about it. And the good food I had. Yeah, Rocky and Bullwinkle was great though.
I'd go controversial opinion. I thought Angelina Jolie was a really good Lara Croft.
She was a good Lara Croft. I just think the movie they gave her wasn't the best. They put a good character in a mediocre film.
Yeah,
but it's not a bad movie. It's not horrible.
Yeah, no, the first one was better than the second one. The recent one where they cast a really skinny woman for some reason as young Lara Croft, I'm going,
really young.
Lara Croft's not skinny.
Yeah, well, they were casting her off of the new game, not the
Yeah.
original game, which
guess.
I think that's perfectly fine. And I thought the movie was all right. It was cool to watch. You know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch
Yeah.
it like 10 times in a row, but I could watch it maybe twice. It's all right.
I got in an Avengers mood today because I was on Disney Plus and they had all the Marvel
Oh,
movies.
I own all those movies. I just bought
Yeah.
them on Blu-ray.
Yeah. And so I
Cool.
randomly I rewatched the start of Iron Man because I hadn't watched that in forever. I didn't watch the whole thing, just the start.
Yeah, that's
And
a
because
good
I
one.
remember being blown away, like, oh my God, someone finally did a good comic book movie. Jesus.
Yep.
And so I watched the start and then I was and I wanted to see the progression. So I watched like the final battle scene in Endgame. So I watched the start of Iron Man
To
then
the
just
end of
final
Endgame.
battle in Endgame to see the
Yep.
Iron Man arc.
Yeah. Iron Man though,
Yeah.
that I mean Robert Downey Jr. is so good in that first movie.
Mm.
Without him,
Yeah.
I mean, he makes that movie so good. The whole like business billionaire asshole, but still a
Yeah.
likable guy. It's
Yeah.
he's really good at it, you know.
Yeah.
Shocking.
For sure.
Shockingly good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember
Yeah,
they
I
were
really-
doing it. Do you remember they were doing interviews with him after that during the press tour of that movie? And some interviewer was like kept asking him about his drug addiction from the earlier 90s. And
Yeah.
eventually he just walked out. Like
Yeah.
after like 10 minutes of
remember
like
Yeah.
seriously being like in the most polite and coolest way, like stop.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I remember
Well,
that. And that's why I
Quite
went and saw the
rightly
movie.
so.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
saw the movie was
Yeah.
because I'm like, why do you be an asshole to Robert Downey Jr.? He's cool as shit.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, because he
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
went to prison because he
Yeah.
had a real issue with crack. And
Yeah, he did.
So there's a story he's told about that whole ordeal with drugs and stuff. And there was a moment in his life where he was in this like rundown old diner out in the country somewhere, eating this dodgy ass burger and just feeling like it didn't do anything for him. Like you know those burgers, like they just so greasy and tasty and cheesy, and they just you know they're like crack. But it just didn't do anything for him, and it was that burger that kind of, if that's not doing anything, what the hell am I doing with my life? And that's why he had the burger in the movie as kind of a transformational moment. I just want a burger. And that
And
was
at the
burger.
end of Endgame, what does his daughter want? After
burger.
the
A
a
cheeseburger,
burger.
yep.
Yep, cheeseburger.
Yep.
Right. Also, I didn't say hi to Nettie. Hi, Annette. If
Oh,
you want,
hi,
let me know if
Nettie.
you want
Oh,
to-
hi, Nettie.
Hi,
Let me
Nettie.
know if you want to
Hello.
join, and I'll post the link again. Oh, look, I mean, I'll just fucking post the link again. You don't have to join if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, there's a question. Safa, was he an actor before drugs? Dude, okay, RDJ is my age, and he was.
Oh
like
yeah, he was a big TV actor before when that was started happening.
He was a teen heartthrob in the 80s and into the
Mhm.
90s. There was this group of young actors that the media called the Brat Pack, and he was in a bunch of movies. He was a really high flying star, and that's where he got into drugs because he kind of had lost meaning in his life. And against all odds, he came out of it stronger. So, because it's like if you are a super privileged white guy, straight celebrity, and fuck your life up, you often don't come back from that because you've had every privilege and
in the
you still-
world. Every privilege in the world.
you
get
still
to you.
managed to fuck it. But he actually came back from it. So
Yeah.
more power, RDJ. Yay, Nettie's joining us. Yay!
Oh,
Hi,
hi,
Nettie.
Nettie. Hi.
Zara says hi too.
Oh,
Hey, Kitty.
Aww. Kitty. Meow, 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 meow.
I'm looking up drink recipes because I'm considering making. Oh, no, I don't think I will. It's only half an hour to go. I think I'll just drink water.
You know what I had last night? I had a
What'd you have?
foxy lady,
Foxy
and it was
lady.
yummy. Yeah.
Yum.
I'm
Love a
just writing
foxy
it up.
lady.
I bet.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, it's a
very
drink
genuine.
Yeah. Yeah. We got we got pizza earlier. Me and my girlfriend earlier tonight,
Ooh.
and It's a pizza place that does takeout cocktails. They do takeout cocktails. We were sitting there looking at the pizza box. They had like a sticker for it, and one of the ones they were giving away, what drink they had on there was a Bloody Mary, and I was just like, oh my god, it's like tomato juice and alcohol. Oh my god, and like my chest would explode with heartburn from that.
Yeah, some people go really over the top with Bloody Marys. The last couple of years, it's become an almost joke thing to do really outrageously stupid garnishes on it. Sometimes it's like a whole meal on a skewer.
Oh, yeah.
Like a burger or fried chicken or whatever.
Oh, man, that's ridiculous.
A lot of places have like a joke Bloody Mary that has this ridiculous amount of stuff as garnishes.
Yeah, that was funny. I was like, oh, God. It was a good pizza, though. I got a good veggie pizza, gluten-free cost. We're spoiled out here in Portland. We got all the hipster places. You know, it's in this part of town that used to be really pretty, and they got all these ugly-ass new buildings with weird fucking boxes and angles, and they block the skyline of downtown from that boulevard there. And every time I go there, I'm just like, ew. The hell they do it in this town? My girlfriend's like, will you stop? They're nice new buildings. I'm like, fuck new buildings. I can't go in them. I'm too fucking poor.
Yeah.
I think it's Christchurch in New Zealand got basically destroyed by an earthquake in the 1930s, and they rebuilt everything Art Deco because that was what was trendy in the 1930s. So you've got this whole city that's Art
I'd
Deco.
be so angry. Yeah, I'm annoyed by just this one neighborhood blocking off view from the downtown skyline with the new angled one. There's this one. It's like a square, and then it's glass cubes all stacked around on like a 5-level building, and it's just these concrete things like poking out over the road. It's like a fucking prison. It looks like a prison. It's depressing. I hate it.
You know what's weird? Petrich Prison being turned into yuppie flats.
Yeah, and there's like an entertainment complex. I'm like, I'm not superstitious, and I don't believe ghosts are real, but I'm not going to live or hang out in an area that has 100-year history of people being tortured.
Whoa!
what?
Yeah. No! Ew! God no!
Yeah, that's fair.
That's like redeveloping Auschwitz or some shit. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's not far.
Yeah, there's a big thing around here where we live because all the native treaties were signed almost in the 1900s here. There's a lot of native graveyards, and they are not touched. You don't touch those fucking places, man. Because nope.
Poltergeist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even if you don't believe in ghosts, it's just bad luck.
Start scratching your face off.
Yeah.
Bad luck. Do it.
I did see a meme where someone's going like, man, America's having a really bad run lately. Almost like it's built on, the whole country is built on an ancient Indian burial ground. Oh,
Yeah.
Especially out east. That's true.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, speaking of movies from childhood, Poltergeist was the fucking best. I loved it.
I loved it and hated it because it really scared me. But it was on it. I'm pretty easily scared.
I haven't seen. That's another movie I haven't seen.
And I was younger. I still am younger than you, just by enough years that I was.
That movie has a
still young
great
enough to be
ending.
scared by Poltergeist.
Yeah,
That movie has a great ending.
I love
the
that
ending of that
ending.
movie.
I was younger than you. I actually still am. And
Maths.
but Poltergeist was directed by Tobe Hooper, the legendary horror director who did the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre and whatnot. And Poltergeist is what he could do if he had a budget. And what I love about Poltergeist is just fucked up shit kept happening. Like when you thought everything was okay, then something really messed up would happen. And you're like, oh no, that's bad. And then right at the end where the funny little Texas lady does the exorcism and they get the little girl back and she goes, this house is clean. And you go, oh, cool. Why is the movie still going then? And anyway.
I hate that. Oh, it's the worst. It's like your heroes are driving home after a long
Yeah.
day, and you're still in the car with them, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah. But this one, what tipped you off? The mother of the family was running a bath, and it's all. Sorry, Abigail, you need
My food
getting your
is here.
food.
Go get it.
Yeah.
So I'm
get
gonna stop
Get
the
your
cam.
food.
But
Yeah.
I just want to say one thing. I
Yeah.
found this. It's a
Don't bite me.
Slytherin.
Sorry.
A Slytherin
Pin.
badge. Yeah.
Yes,
Woo!
so I found this on the footpath. I'm not in Slytherin. I'm in Ravenclaw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any Slytherin who wants this can have it, but on the condition that they steal it from on my desk. It's on my desk. If you can steal it, it's yours. I'll be back in a sec.
Excellent.
I'm not.
That's
I'm
very
not a
appropriate.
Slytherin though. I'm a Gryffindor, so I can't.
Yeah. What is
I'd be Ravenclaw too.
But saying about Poltergeist at the end, when everything's supposedly okay, the mum from the family is running a bath, and everyone's just having a normal. And then they do this shot, and it shows there's no plug in the bath, but it's filling up with water, and you just go, "Wait a minute, that's not right." And then shit goes wild.
Yeah, the ending of that film is so wacky.
Yeah.
So like the whole neighborhood's freaking out and everything.
Yeah.
You built this on a Henry.
Yeah, it's like you moved the headstones, but you didn't move the bodies.
Yeah, and it's like the whole neighborhood's out there screaming and clamoring. It's great because not a lot of horror movies do that. They kind of like the climax happens to like one person, so nobody knows. But Poltergeist is one where it's like literally in everyone's faces. It's really neat. I like that take on a horror movie because they never go that way. What was that one film recently that was really good? Cabin in the Woods, like the world's ending. At the end of it. Yeah, and there was like all these people involved in this giant. It's just cool because a lot of horror, scary movies or whatever, they end with like, "Ooh, it's a hidden little secret." But I like it when it's out of control and everyone is fucked and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" I think that's a cooler ending to me. You know, I could just see like a news report after the credits. You know,
Yeah.
The thing about Poltergeist is that it was the video to have on for 12-year-old sleepover birthday parties.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Yeah.
And they still got scared.
Yeah. No, I mean, dude, the fucking house like blows up and turns. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
I love that you brought up Cabin in the Woods. I love they end up with that reveal that because horror movies are always so dumb. Why are these teenagers in these situations? And you find out it's because there's this whole thing with demons, and there's a whole infrastructure to put teenagers in this situation to satisfy the demons. And you're like, that's
I love how it takes to the end of the movie where the one character's all like, "I bet that guy doesn't even have a cousin." Yeah, it's pretty good. I love that. Good stuff indeed.
So, but that's a good question. When did they change analog cinemas to digital? I think there are still some analog cinemas because the cinema chain really resisted digital for a while because they said we're going to be prisoners to the technology companies if we go digital.
Yeah,
as it is, we get all the things and whatnot, but all the big ones are digital now. Like I was in one of the local an independent cinema that I didn't realize was digital. Everything overheated, and the film being projected started to pixelate, like when YouTube fucks up on you. It was like, wow, it's digital.
Yeah, it's pretty rare when that happens, but it can happen if you have a cheap system. So yeah, like out here in the States, when I was in high school, we took some tours of movie theaters. They were even IMAX theaters back then were all film, and then they switched over to digital when they realized that no, we're just going to give you a file to play on your computer, and that's it.
Yes,
but it's a non-copyable file. You can't copy it. So that's what they did, and then. What kept 70? So there's a few theaters on the West Coast that have 70 millimeter, and then some IMAX theaters still have the IMAX film, which is actually bigger than 70 millimeter. Actually.
Yes, much bigger.
And those stick around, and they have digital projectors in them, but they keep their film projectors around just for the fancy schmancy movies that are still shot on
Yeah.
film and all that shit.
Yeah.
But but as far as I'm concerned, I was one of the very few people who never really like the look of grainy film. I actually prefer a digital movie. I like it shot that way, and all that because all my favorite films growing up were shot digitally that I like to look at, and so for me, I'm a digital fan. I'm not, film's great, but
well, what happened to me when the thing broke down? It was summer, and it wasn't this last summer; it was previous summer, and the air conditioning in this cinema broke. And
of course, that's fucked. No way,
I'm there with Mrs. Angry, and we're both starting to sweat. We're looking at each other, going, "I don't know if I'm going to make it through this movie. This is really bad." And then the screen started to pixelate and going, okay, now the digital equipment is overheating as well. So fuck it. So walked out and to the candy bar. So I was basically saying, give me a refund. And as soon as I walked out, they're like, oh, you were in Cinema 3, weren't you? Because they knew the air conditioning was out and they expected people to go, I can't stand it. You got to give me and I said, oh, it's not just that it's too hot. The projector's packing. And they go, oh, really? And in the 30 seconds we were talking to them, everyone started filing out of the cinema because it was just breaking up. And
because what they are upstairs now is glorified server room. So without proper cooling, that shit's fucked, and that's expensive.
I'm doing a toilet break because I'm busting. So keep talking.
Talk.
I'm playing with my stickers.
Stickers.
Yeah.
Do you have sticker books?
I have washi tape. I have boxes.
Oh, neat. There you go. Is that a little hobby for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know quite why I do it, but when I make up a new cocktail that I like, I'll put it in here, and
Oh yeah, and you put a bunch of little stickers in there, and it's a little book. That's pretty neat, actually.
Yeah, I started doing it last year during the lockdown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everybody got a hobby then, huh?
Yep. Cocktails, mixology, that was mine, and getting on the live stream.
And somebody else's too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a whole bar back there now.
Oh my God, I've got a locker. 3 stories locker, and it's crowding out the naughty junk food that I also lock in there away from the kids.
Kids are like, we need the locker. We need the key. We need the snacks.
We're doing an Ocean's 11 caper. Your kids will be just trying to do a whole caper to get into the locker.
We just need the Oreos.
To get into lock it. I went away. I went to Sydney and forgot to lock it. And guess what happened? Yeah, I got a phone call while I'm away. Allie's throwing up. I'm worried.
Oh
no.
Yeah.
Trouble.
Fortunately, mine are old enough that I can basically trust them. And my daughter doesn't like to drink at all. My son does, but he knows he can just say, hey, can you make me a drink? And I'll, make him a drink. And,
so, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, because they're all adults. So,
that's much easier than him having to deal all that himself. He just goes to you, like, you could just make me a drink. I don't have to do anything about it.
I'm here, particularly on a Friday or Saturday night. He's very online. He'll be gaming with his friends, and he'll just come out and say, "Oh, can you make me something?" And I'll go, "Yeah, sure, I'll make you something." I'd much rather know that, he's here and I'm mixing him a couple of drinks, and then he's feeling like he has to sneak around with shit. But
that's the worst. That's the worst.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I think last Thursday night when he had some friends over, and there's a few people saying, "Is there a party at your place?" It sounds really loud in the background because, there are a bunch of 20-something boys in the next room, and But I think my lad actually did throw up. Like they were drinking. Someone had brought a bottle of vodka. And,
Oh God! Oh my God! That's yeah.
Yeah, there was a bucket in the laundry that smelt like vomit, and he went, "Oh yeah, that was me." And, you know, rinsed it out. There, yep, dude. You have to use disinfectant as well, otherwise the lingers. You did a good job with rinsing it out and whatnot, but we need some.
When I was about that age, when I was about that age, we had this saying, you know, bucket, you're my best mate.
Yeah.
So that meant, someone had been,
we had
playing that game.
All these jokes about calling someone on the big white telephone. And you're like yelling into the toilet. You're either calling
the porcelain telephone.
The porcelain telephone. Either calling God on the porcelain telephone because you just go, "Oh God!" or my friend had this thing where he said calling the Archbishop because he said you'd go like, "Ah, Bishop."
That's a good one right there. Oh my God!
He'd call it calling the Archbishop, but
I never drank, but I definitely helped a few friends get cleaned up and get home a few times.
Oh yeah,
that's what you do when you're the one not drinking. You help them get home after they have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember in high school I didn't drink, but I had a car. It was just a little Volkswagen, and after a party where I was the only one who hadn't been drinking at all, but there were these two younger lads. There were two of my mates who were my age, so we were like 17, 18. But there were these two younger lads who we knew who'd ended up at the party, and they were only about 16. And there were three of them because so I had like 5 passengers in a Volkswagen Beetle, which is not a good idea.
Clown car.
Yeah, and the guy in the middle in the back seat, and so there were people either side of him. He was the one who got really sick, and it was actually driving them home. It's like, "Where do you live? I'm going to drive you home because it's really embarrassing how drunk you got at our party." And he did this thing where he's going, "Oh, I'm going to vomit," and his initial thought was, "I'm going to hold it in." So he keeps his lips together, and it balloons out his cheeks. And then he sprays it like a trumpet player. So I'm in the front, and he hits the back of my head and hits the windshield. And I'm like, ugh. And then apparently the guys in the back seat told me he went, and then he just learned, and he turned his head side to side. Just got an equal amount of vomit on the guys either side of him. And we're like, oh God. And so we got into his place, and we're like, he's barely conscious, and like his mum wakes up, and I'm like, "Hi. You don't know me, but I've got your son here," and she actually really liked that someone responsible brought him home. But the other lads were like, he spewed over, and the mum said, "Oh, you can come in. I'll wash the clothes. We've got a washer and dryer." So these other lads stayed there so their clothes could get washed and dried, and they could go home not stinking of spew.
What a nice lady!
That was a nice mum. A very nice mum.
Yeah, that's a nice lady.
She didn't yell at me. I was worried we were going to get yelled at, but she was actually just appreciative.
Yeah. She can't be mad at you. She's mad at her kid, not you. You didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, you drove home.
That even happened when I was at uni, because we're in a country town uni. There's a big thing. Some townies there who definitely looked underage, and this girl got unconscious drunk, and we were like, we can't fucking leave her here. This is bad. She's one of her friends was still conscious, and we're going, where does she live? And he's going, oh, Dad's going to be mad again. We can't leave an unconscious, probably 17-year-old in a university bar. We can't do that.
Yeah, that's not good.
And so we drove her, and like literally had to carry up. I'm going, this is going to end badly. This is going to end badly. Like someone's going to be so angry at me. And a dad answers the door, and I'm like, hi. And I'm literally like carrying his unconscious daughter. I'm like, hi. Fortunately, I was completely sober, and I'm just like, hi. This incident, we thought we needed to get her home, and he was actually really good, and he thanked us. And I think she was like dead meat. I think she was grounded after that. I think. But,
obviously.
But I was so worried. It's like I'm going up to the door with this unconscious.
Oh yeah, you read the riot act after your girl does that, you know. Like, what do you reckon? You can't do that.
Yeah, that's gonna end badly.
You got to think before you drink.
How was the food, Abigail?
Yeah, how was it?
So good.
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 Especially after you were talking about it. I got the a double whopper with veggie patties
Ooh,
and pineapple, and oh god, it was so good.
Wow.
But I
That sounds
dripped
amazing.
barbecue. Yeah, dripped a bit of barbecue sauce somewhere, but yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
got a
it,
little
yeah.
bit of dinner on me too.
Yeah. Actually, you know what?
It was very nice.
I had a cheese quesadilla earlier for my my first meal of the day. Good cheese quesadilla with sour cream and guacamole. Oh my god, it's about this big. Oh my god, it was so good.
Oh, yes.
Amazing.
I used to call the toilet, throwing up in the toilet. I was driving the white porcelain bus.
Yes, driving the bus.
See, driving the bus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Making bus engine noises as you do it.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
at least you can get to the toilet. If you can get to the toilet, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
No matter
Yes.
why you're sick, if you can get to the toilet, regardless of why, good
Yeah.
job. That's good enough.
Yeah.
I'm getting a drink.
Sundays-
I'll be back in a minute.
All
And
right.
I'll mute
Sundays,
myself.
try being hungover on Bailey's, having to make up calf and lamb formula and not succumb to the smell. So I assume that's farm work while hungover from a creamy alcohol and then having to deal with milk products. Yeah, that's not good.
Ugh.
That would
Yeah.
be bad. That'd be very, very
That's-
bad indeed.
That's just
And no
sad
staff-
making.
sort of weird. Yeah, no, just farm stuff generally, if you're hungover, I think would be a real travail because it's hard work. And if you're hungover, that's not good.
Yeah, because you're dehydrated if you're hungover, so that's gonna be
Yeah.
a fucking nightmare. Be sore for a long time.
All the smells would just be worse.
Oh yeah, that's
a lot of smells on a farm. Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, last time I got sick was because I developed an allergy to bananas. I was eating bananas every morning for like most mornings for a couple months, and then I just started getting sick after it, and I just stopped eating the bananas, and that was fine. So can't eat bananas anymore. That's weird.
Like you had
How
a
do you like
banana.
them bananas?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you like them bananas?
Yeah, I love, and that's the thing is bananas are great, but now I can't eat them anymore.
Bananas are
Shame. So yeah.
Although I will say there are a few things as disappointing as a bad banana, because I really like bananas, and if you get one that's either tastes gross or is just bland and woody and whatnot, it's such a disappointment because it's like, yeah, I'm having a banana, and then the banana's really disappointing.
Yeah, that's not fun at all. No, that's
I don't
terrible.
like bananas all that
Yeah.
much.
You know what's bland? Cantaloupe.
Oh, rock
Yeah.
melon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rock
I
melon, yeah.
hate. I'm not into melon. Like people love watermelon, or I don't like watermelon, rock melon, honeydew, any of those things.
Yeah. I mean,
Honeydew's
I'll eat
okay.
melons. I'll eat melons. I like melons. I like
Yeah.
watermelon, like honeydew, but
Yeah.
I'll eat cantaloupe. It's just not that great. It
Yeah.
reminds me of a Simpsons joke. The episode
Yeah.
where they're in a bunker and the comet's heading for Springfield, and I think one of the characters goes, I forgot who says this, but they're like, "Oh, I never got to try cantaloupe," and then and Krusty the Clown goes, "You're not missing much. Don't worry about it." When the comet hits them,
Yeah, which is this big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a very weird episode. That one. That was the one where Kent Brockman says the thing like, because the only bridge out of town has been destroyed and they're trapped. And then it cuts to, Kent Brockman saying, and Congress is at the moment approving the funding bill to rescue Springfield. And someone goes, Bill 36A for the funding to save Springfield. All say aye. And people start to say aye. And someone goes, I'd like to tack on this element for the bill to get a 50% pay rise. It's like, and then everyone goes, nay. And then it cuts back to Kent Brockman. And Ken Brockman says, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Democracy doesn't work.
Well, that particular brand of democracy.
yeah,
American
having
work.
two parliaments doesn't work.
Mm.
That's the main problem. Is
Oh.
we have a very proportional House, and then we have a Senate with all these tiny states that have 2 seats, and they get to say over. That doesn't make any sense. The Senate, get rid of the Senate. Just have the House. We don't need the Senate.
It's important to have the 2 legislative bodies.
But I also think it's important to have some bias in favor of country areas and low population areas compared to high population areas. But the US system has taken it way too far. Like California has 2 senators, and a state that has literally 1/20th of the population of California also has 2 senators. And so you get these conservative fuckheads from these tiny states
like Kentucky.
Basically control legislation, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's got to be based upon population, not state. It needs to be based upon population.
I think there has to be a balance, because like the electorates in Australia, like Melbourne geographically has 20 seats, and then the country area has 4 to 6, and they cover much bigger areas. Like Metro Melbourne's 20 or 30 seats, and then the country area is 4 to 6 seats. But the population in each of those country seats is much lower than the population in a city seat. You've got to strike a balance.
I mean, I want a balance, but like what we have now just doesn't work. Like it has to be proportional based upon population.
The US system is completely fucked. I think ours strikes a reasonable balance. Because if it's just on number of votes, then people in the cities will always control everything that happens forever. And
that's not fair. No, you have to have, you have a proper counterbalance for that. But it shouldn't be that these minority population areas, not like actual people of color, like low population areas, they shouldn't have more control than places with more population than them. That's the problem.
And the idea of attaching things to a bill that have nothing to do with that
that doesn't make any sense at all.
Ridiculous.
That doesn't happen in Australia. That doesn't happen in Australia.
And another problem we have is we have 2 houses of Congress, yet they can't impeach a president that literally tried to kill them.
Well, see, because impeachment is a political thing. It's not a legal thing.
And that's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem.
It's got all the trappings of a legal thing, but it's not a legal thing.
I think we should have a prime minister that is elected by the party, and then it's a lot, and they have a cabinet. They're all elected. They choose a prime minister. That's far better. And the prime minister does something terrible, then
get rid of him.
Easily get rid of him.
I also find it weird that the cabinet in the US is appointed, not elected.
Yeah, I don't want. Yeah, that's the other thing too.
That really weird.
In fact, a good example of that is Mayor Pete from South Bend, Pete Buttigieg, who his biggest accomplishment was taking a city full of black people that couldn't keep up their maintenance because they had no money, and instead of abolishing the homes that were abandoned, he just demolished the homes of the black families.
Yeah,
he left the roads to disintegrate into the ground. Now he's the head of the Department of Transportation.
Yeah, no, he's not great. I always said, like, some people were a bit wary of aggressively criticizing Mayor Pete because, like, he's the first openly gay candidate.
He was, but it's pretty apparent that he's definitely involved in some like.
He's terrible.
Not deep state, but like CIA, NSA stuff, and he also works with like McKinsey, and he was in Afghanistan. He served time in the army, but he didn't do good things in the army. Like he was, you know what I mean? Like there's a whole track record there that he did some shit.
There are a few stories about him that you look at it and go, it is not implausible. He is secretly working for the CIA.
It's just not good. And the scary thing is that he is now in charge of the Department of Transportation, and McKinsey is the leader in privatizing transportation.
Yeah.
and that's really bad because like.
No.
I thought we had hope because Biden loves trains.
He does.
And I just need him to just put some high-speed rail down. Come on, Joe, you're gonna love it. But Pete's gonna be like, Grandpa Joe, we don't need that. Don't worry about it. Take your pills, you'll be fine. And that scares me. That terrifies me.
But I always said people were worried about criticizing him because he was, the first openly gay candidate at that level. But that's equality. I was going, no. That's equality. That's true equality for LGBTI people. That your first really high-profile candidate is an absolute piece of shit.
No, that's American equality.
You don't have to be flawless. You don't have to be a paragon of virtue. You're just a person.
Yeah, because I worked at
the shitheads.
I worked at the ABC station in that town for a little while when he was mayor, and we would criticize the shit out of him for his policies. But if anything ever appeared to be attacking him for his sexuality, that would not fly by me. That I would shut that shit real quick. But the weirdest thing was like now South Bend's a pretty large city. It's about 200,000 people. Yeah. He would walk down to the city plow truck garage with donuts during every blizzard to get press time. So he'd bring them donuts and then he'd walk over to the cameras for 5 hours and talk.
Yeah.
And he looked like a school child then. He looked like a baby. And I was just it really weirded me out. I'm just sitting there like, why is he talking? Like, shouldn't he be in the emergency center? Shouldn't he be doing something else when he's just
like work? Shouldn't he be working?
Exactly. Well, it's just like, the reporters had a joke for Mayor Pete during the blizzards. They were all like, oh, well, the blizzard's here, so that means Pete's on 6th Street. Get the camera set up, and you can just go on home. He'll just talk all fucking day.
He pretty much personifies the type of Democratic politician I really don't like. He's so corporate, and he's so part of the machine, and he's so untrustworthy.
You can't trust him at all. Yeah, I personally met him and I talked to him and I don't like him. He really freaked me out when he talked to me. I don't know why, but I had to get out of that room. We got out of there. No way.
No, he's all kinds of creepy, that guy.
Just very polite. He's a very polite guy. Yeah. When I talked, he was very nice to us. He didn't have to be.
They always are.
I know. I have filmed politicians who treated a camera guy like a piece of shit. Trust me. I almost got ran over by somebody that I was supposed to be filming. They came behind me, almost tackled me when they were trying to get out there for their interviewing time. But he was very nice, very relaxed. He didn't rush us. He was nice, but he's no soul behind those eyes.
Yeah, no, he's not completely human. He's a creature of politics.
I think this is the first time I publicly said.
He's a shape-shifting reptile.
I think this is the first time I publicly said I've met him and filmed him. I don't think anybody's done this before. Here you go, America. 3 a.m. I'm spilling the beans on Mayor Pete.
Spilling the beans on Mayor Pete.
I don't have much. He just seemed really fucking weird. That was about it.
Yeah, I think he does. I think he seems very weird.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I don't know. He did a couple good things, though. He did some good work with immigrant non-citizens. He did some city services. He gave them some ID cards so that way they could get an ID in the city and access services. That was nice. That's about all he did, really. Yeah. Brought the Cubs to put a minor league team in town, though. That was nice.
Oh, that's nice.
About it, really.
God, our biggest news story here that is going away is a federal government senior minister has been accused of raping a woman back in the 80s.
Ew, why?
What's
wrong with people? What the fuck?
The woman in question took her own life. Well, there was a whole series of stories where staffers. Okay. No. Don't get confused, Nettie. There was a whole series of stories where staffers who worked for the Liberal Party very recently
Yeah.
false claims that they'd been raped by another Liberal Party staffer.
Oh my God! What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
but there's an historical case. It goes back to the late 80s, and apparently the perpetrator is one of the senior government ministers at the moment. So basically, people narrowed it down. It's one of 4 people. In all probability, they were probably about 18 when it happened, and the name's going to come out at some point.
Oh my
Everyone's
God!
been everyone's been doing rampant speculation on Twitter.
They
for a
did
couple of
that when
days.
they were 18. What the hell, man? That's a
Yeah.
long history. That's a young age to do something so fucking horrible. I mean, they got to be really messed up.
Yeah, and you
Jesus.
also suspect it's probably not the only time they ever did as
Oh
well.
no, definitely. Oh my God, that's so horrible.
Wow, that's just, can we say something more cheerful? Because I'm going to go to bed. Can we finish on a more up note than that? I don't know why I brought that up before I went to bed.
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Ice cream is good.
Ice cream.
My girlfriend's cat was wearing the sweater tonight.
That's cute.
Oh, that's cute.
I like,
Yeah.
They had a little blue sweater on. There you go.
I like that. That's
Yep.
nice.
And my
That is
veggie
good.
burger was absolutely delicious.
It was. I'm jealous. I love a good
Terrific.
veggie.
And
Nice.
I've done a great page for the Foxy Lady.
Oh, excellent.
Cool.
Excellent.
There
All
you
good.
go.
Okay. Well, that's a much more up note to finish on. I'm going to go to bed now.
Yeah, it is late. It is late. Have a great night, everybody. I should get to bed
Take
too.
care,
Good night,
everyone.
Good
guys.
night, everyone.